All right. It is Thursday, October the 30th. I want to welcome everyone to this live presentation, this Consciousness Ascending presentation. This is episode 66 of Accelerating Your Journey. My name is Benny Ferguson. I channel the non-physical collective known as Abraham. I've been channeling for over a decade now, and we're excited to be here. We're excited not just to be of support in this fashion, but to be a catalyst for the acceleration of your growth and expansion. Those of you who are and know you are on this journey of enlightenment. If you are new and you find value in this interaction and any of the interactions that you find on our channel, be sure to subscribe. Click the bell notification so that you're alerted whenever new content is uploaded. Whenever we are planning to go live, you will be alerted on that. And check the description. Check the description for ways that you can connect with us in a deeper level, ways that will further accelerate the process for you, whether it is a private session that will help you immediately get unstuck from any circumstance or situation that you have found yourself in due to a reflection in the mirror, or our private our private community for those of you who have decided to make this play and practice a priority in your life. Hello, Sonia. So, let's get started. Today's topic is the awareness of knowledge does not make it your truth. The awareness of knowledge does not make it your truth. Knowing of the truth does not make it dominant. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about that the awareness of knowledge doesn't make it your truth? The knowing of knowledge doesn't make it dominant. The knowing of truth doesn't make it dominant. Conscious creators. Information does not make it actionable. Knowing information does not make it actionable. We're just on a call with an individual that we've been working with for a while with consistency. And you have to understand that even this interaction, yes, you are being tuned to our frequency as we interact. This can happen and does happen whether you're here live or you're watching a recording, if you are being sensitive and really tuning into the material. And that is supporting you. That is supporting you along your path, along your journey. But the true play and practice is the releasing of resistance that allows more and more greater light to flow through you, thus elevating your vibration, increasing your alignment with greater consistency, opening you up to the truth of source of higher frequency to make its way into your being, thus firmly establishing you in the new level of frequency that you have attained and held and played with consistency. There is a play and practice that is a part of this growth and expansion process that every being who is human, every ascended master as you call them, all of these individuals have participated in the play and practice. They have taken this extreme level of responsibility that is required of the individual. And this is what you must do also. But it's not something that you push to do, it's something that you are inspired to do. Many of you may find yourself still gathering information for your lifetime. Listening to videos, reading books, all of those things. And never really get to the play and practice. Never really get to the turning of your attention inward. Letting go of the external, knowing that the external is a reflection and has no causative power. Still holding on to the binds and the attachments to the external. Still concerned with the thoughts and opinions of those outside of you. Still concerned with fitting into the idea matrix of humanity. Many of you will still play in that idea for this life, for this iteration of life, and that's perfect. That's fine. But for those of you on the edge, for those of you on the cusp of moving into making this a priority, understand that the inner work, the inner play and practice is what is and where the power is revealed. Because simultaneously, as you play with the releasing of resistance, the releasing of inner conflict through whatever tools you are inspired to at the moment, the creative power that you possess that resides just beyond each idea conflict, just beyond each idea of resistance, that power explodes and expands you just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And then you have the requisite experiences that come as a result of your having released that conflict and expanded a little bit more. And when you are aware and see those experiences and how they are changing as a result of your transformation and the vibrational expression that you have shifted to as a result of the releasing, there's a compounding effect that occurs. And that compounding effect that occurs heats you up. It makes you stronger. It expands you. It is a catalyst for greater drive, greater determination. Because the question becomes, is there anything that I'm not capable of? Because the awareness that I have now, I'm seeing the alignment occurring. I'm seeing the synchronicities occurring right in front of me. I'm following the synchronicities at times. I'm seeing creation happening based on my intention right in front of me. I'm seeing how when I establish an idea and I begin to focus on an idea, that material related to that idea begins to make its way into my experience, where before I had no awareness of any material related to a specific idea. I'm observing these things. I'm watching these things. And it's no longer a coincidence because I have been playing with this for months now, a year now, a couple of years now. And so many things have happened. Now I am moving into knowing. I am moving into certainty. Benny he read Jack Canfield's story at one time. This is an individual who is in the self-help arena, and he has resided in that arena for a long time, coaching and assisting individuals and companies. But he also has a level of and is aware of much deeper things than he portrays in his business, right? And he was discussing how he and his partner, they wrote the books, the Chicken Soup for the Soul books, and how he manifested his home that he was intending, a $4 million property that he was able to purchase as a result of the success of the books that they wrote, that they were inspired to, alignment, flowing, moving down the pipe. They were inspired to write the book. They were inspired to do certain things to market the book. The book took off. It was profitable and abundant for both of the individuals, and he was able to move into the home as a result of the success of that book, which was intention manifest and alignment playing itself out. But he described how, as you go about this process, that there is a gap. There is space between you and the thing that you are intending to create as experience when you are hopeful. But as you move about this process and what we were talking about, as you begin to stack the experiences on top of each other that you have seen and witnessed within your own experience, you're not leaning on what we say. You're not leaning on what anybody else has said or described. But your own experience, you move into knowing. You move into certainty. The feeling of knowing, the feeling of certainty around your ability to create, around your ability to materialize an idea, around the fact that you are creating and that you understand the process. You understand the inner creative faculties. You understand that when you begin to hold your attention on an idea, that the matter, the materials, the information related to that idea begins to slowly make its way into your experience, giving you evidence that that which you are intending is on approach with perfect timing and perfect alignment and all of the collaborative components that are necessary to yield the experience, all coming together in play for you. But he said you have to get to a place of knowing. You have to get to a place of certainty. In knowing and in certainty, you're not separate from the thing because you know that it's present, because you know that it exists, and you know the experience because you have rehearsed it so many times inside of your mind and body. You have been in, around, and through the car. You know what it smells like. You know what it looks like. You have felt the material. You have felt the wheels and the undercarriage and the body. You have been all through it, and you trust in that it exists because you have experienced it inwardly. And so you know, K-N-O-W, without a shadow of a doubt. You are certain of its presence and your experience with it. When you move into knowing and certainty of your intentions, there's no distance between you and that intention. And that pretty much guarantees its manifestation, because the only way you can be in the knowing of a thing is to be free of any resistance or conflict as it relates to that thing. Think about the things that you know right now. If you drive, do you know how to drive with absolute certainty? It feels a certain way, and that feeling is located in a certain place in your body. Now, if an abundance of resources or finances is something you are intending, when you look inside of your body, it's probably not in that knowing position. It's probably somewhere else. When you look on the screen of your mind, the idea of an abundance of resources probably not in the knowing position of where you would categorize it on the screen of your mind. It's probably somewhere at a distance from that knowing and that certainty. Which means that it's going to be difficult to materialize that specific idea because there is distance between you and the experience internally. Whereas those of you who know that you can drive, and for anyone to suggest otherwise is just silly. You are completely connected to that idea. You are completely at home and comfortable with that idea. There is no doubt, there is no worry, there is no resistance, there is no conflict between you and that idea. And this is what we want for you when it comes to your ability to create, when it comes to your ability to materialize experience. You have to play and practice enough and with enough consistency to get into the knowing and the certainty of the thing. The knowing and the certainty, it's a feeling. The knowing and the certainty of ideas are set in specific places in your mind and in your body. You have to identify those places. Begin to try to move those ideas and place them in there. If you have a large degree of uncertainty around an idea, you won't be able to put it there. But the closer you get, the more sure you get of your ability to create, that you are creating. That's why we say you have to prove these things to yourself. The more confident, the more you have stacked the experiences on top of each other to the point where you know it's not coincidence, and you have proven it over and over and over to yourself that you are creating. And now you're asking the question, why do some things manifest very quickly, and why do some things seem to take a long time? Why have I effortlessly and easily and quickly manifested things that I know I have thought about that same day or the day before or just in a few days? And there are things that I really, really desire that I haven't been able to manifest yet. You start asking those type questions and start really breaking down the creative process. This is the type of thing that Benny's doing now. Really, really breaking down the inner creative process, the process of manifesting. But you don't start asking those type questions until you have accepted wholeheartedly and you know and are certain that you are doing the thing. That it hasn't been anybody else's responsibility your entire life except for yours. And that there's nothing outside of you influencing your ability to create. Once you accept that, then you start asking even more clear and specific questions. How did this materialize quickly and this hasn't materialized yet? And you're doing that in a high frequency. You're not doing it in frustration, but you're asking that question. Where is knowing in my body? I know how to drive. I know how to swim. I know how to write my name. I know my name. Where is that located in my body? Where is that positioned in my mind? Let's get this thing figured out so that I know how to categorize things in my mind that I'm intending, so that I can be vibrationally, energetically, mentally as close to it as possible, that I can be at one with it in frequency and in energy. Non-physically, I can be at one with it with no separation, and that means that it has to be a physical experience of mine, because I've proven the process to myself. That's what I've been doing all along. With all of the things that I wouldn't say I desire, all of the negative things that I classified as negative or bad or wrong that happened and have continued, that have repeated happening in my life, this is what I've been doing. Those ideas I have been one with. I have been certain of them. I have been certain and sure of those experiences. I had the physical evidence. And that's what created the loop of external experience, internal experience, external experience, internal experience. There was a loop created, and I knew it for a fact. I knew it. I trusted that this was my experience. And that's what continued it. That's what made it continue to repeat. So I want to do the exact same thing now that I'm consciously aware of the process. I want to do the exact same thing in the direction of my intentions. So you begin to see these things when you stop classifying ideas and experiences as good or bad. When you stop classifying them as good or bad and you start looking at them for the process from a higher frequency perspective, you start putting two and two together. This is who I was being. This is what I was doing internally. And this experience, yes, it happened multiple times. Sometimes with the same people in the same environment. And I am also aware that sometimes it was different individuals in different spaces, but it was the exact same experience that left me feeling the exact same way and thinking the exact same way about myself and that experience, believing it more and more. I see the process. And now I know the process. I am certain of the process. And so I'm going to use that exact same process in the direction of that which I intend, in the direction of that which I desire. And there is nothing big, and there is nothing small. There's only intention, attention, alignment, and materialization. All of those other ideas are human constructs that can separate you, create distance between you and the thing that you are desiring. If you believe it to be big, then it is big. If you believe it to be difficult, it will be difficult for you. If you're no longer utilizing those ideas, then you're free for perfect timing. But the knowing of knowledge, The knowing of information does not make it dominant. Proving it to yourself through experience makes it dominant. The play and practice of the mental framework, sowing the ideas in high frequency, in high energy with passion, sows ideas into the unconscious regions of your mind, into the subconscious, if you will, if you want to use that. Sows the idea into your body with energies that make it dominant over anything else. And when an idea is dominant over anything else, it becomes your physical expression. First, your vibrational expression. Your thought patterns mirror that dominant idea. Your speech mirrors that dominant idea. Your actions mirror that dominant idea. You feel in conjunction, in an alignment with that dominant idea. But you have to sow these ideas passionately. They can't just be information. You don't just act on information. You act on your dominant ideas. You can have the information in the coming year to begin to exercise more, to change your eating patterns and habits. That would allow your body to function in a cleaner, more optimal way, which would equal greater health for you. But just knowing that doesn't change the behaviors. Just knowing that doesn't make those ideas dominant. There's play and practice involved in the making of an idea dominant. Information doesn't do it. And when something becomes dominant, you know it. Your ability to drive is a dominant idea. You know it. You're certain of your ability to do that. Your ability to swim is a dominant idea. You know it. You're certain of your ability to do that. To cook, to clean. All of those things that you are capable of, that you know you can do. There's a feeling attached to them. But for those of you who are aspiring to be conscious creators, you have to understand that the play and practice made a priority needs to be your priority. The gathering of information doesn't do it. The gathering of information doesn't do it. The making of these ideas to be dominant, that you are expressing them in your thoughts, in your feelings, and in your language, and in your behaviors consistently. That needs to be made a priority. And we support individuals to cut into that through our private sessions and the private community we established for that very reason, to allow and for there to be everything necessary to support the individual on this journey of enlightenment. Everything necessary to speed up the process, to create a high level of consistency and awareness, to move to that space of freedom, to move to that space of fearlessness, and the life that is a requisite of that, the life that is a result of that. It doesn't have to take a lifetime, but you have to have the pieces in place of support. Why? Because the information from the loops that have been created, the information right now is dominant, flooding into your system through your senses. That is the challenge. That's the challenge. The material flooding in through your senses. So, at this moment in your time, we are excited for each of you. We're excited for those of you who are firmly on this path and know you can't get off of it. We're excited that you've allowed us to be of support today. We're excited for those of you who have supported us in the creation of this interaction with your energies, with your attention, and with your intention for yourself and for your life. If you have questions, comments, thoughts that you would like discussed for a few moments on this platform, just put them in the chat and we'll take a few moments to discuss those. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Does anyone have questions, comments, or thoughts? Let's see. Sonia says, it's sometimes difficult to not have doubts that I will receive the messages I need. I will continue to work towards my goal. Excellent. Excellent. Your ability to receive messages. We're assuming you're talking about the information coming into your experience or your awareness. Just know that it's there. Know that it's there and stay in an open space to receive. Right? And there, that has a requisite energy frequency to it. Know that the information is there. Know that that which you need is there. And being open to receiving it feels a certain way. Right? Frustration feels a certain way too. Worry or doubt that you may not receive the messages, that you may be out of alignment, feels a certain way too. One section of that is in alignment, the openness, the knowing that the information and the materials and the resources are there, and the expectance of being able to perceive that which is necessary for you, that feels good. That's alignment. The others, not so much. So it's always about the feeling. It's always about the feeling. Now, we're guessing kind of whether you're talking about information coming into your experience or messages as in channeled messages that you receive. But both of them are about alignment. Both of them are about being in a high frequency, being in a high vibrational state that allows the information, the material to flow to you freely, whether you're talking about energetic interaction or physical appearance of that which is required. They're both about alignment. They're both about high frequency. So the more you walk around seeing the beauty in yourself, seeing the beauty that you encounter outside of you, the more frequently you're in alignment. The more you walk around being excited for the possibilities that exist for you and being excited in the observing of the possibilities that you can fathom in your experience right now, the more you're in alignment. And alignment is the key. Consistently being in alignment, whether it looks like anything is happening or not, that's the key. Because things are always happening in direct relationship to how you feel, which is your vibrational state. I hope that helps. Right. It's easy to know that I can drive because I have practiced it physically. We get into place of knowing that I can have the things that I know vibrationally I already have is a challenge. Yes, that's the building of the muscle. That's the building of a muscle. But what we pointed out is that knowing that you can drive feels a certain way. It feels a certain way and is located in a certain place within your body. And that idea is categorized in a certain way in your mind. If you have an intention, align all of those things around that which you know you can do from the creative process standpoint. Process is a process. All of those things that you have in place and that you do from a state of being standpoint with those things that you know with certainty, play and practice with positioning yourself in the same way with that which you are intending that hasn't physically manifested. That's the only thing you're responsible for, is aligning yourself internally with the thing. The thing didn't happen and then you aligned yourself internally. Somehow you aligned yourself internally and then the thing happened. Once you become cleanly and purely aware of the process, you will be able to look back and see how and what you did. That you will know whether you're in alignment. That you will know whether you're in alignment or not. That thought wasn't in alignment. How I'm feeling right now is not in alignment. You'll know. And then you will continue to hone in on the process of whether you're in alignment with your intention or not. And all the while, as you're playing and practicing to align yourself, you're observing in your experience for evidence of your attention. Right? Because even if you're not fully in alignment with the thing, with the idea, your attention on the idea is creative. Because there are flashes of moments when you're placing your attention on that car and you're like, man, that's a really nice car. I really would like to have that car. So you've got the image on the screen of your mind. You're talking about it, which means that you are feeling the feeling of that car, right? And as you look at the pictures, you're seeing the interior, you're seeing the exterior, you're seeing all of the things, right? And you may trip up and actually, in your mind's eye, feel the steering wheel, run your hand across the interior, the seats and the dash and all of those things. You may change the radio station in your mind and body, do the thing, and you're doing everything perfectly. You're engaging the inner creative process perfectly, and you're expressing the feeling of that perfectly, which in that moment you are completely aligned with that vehicle. Then from there, the question is, do you believe it? How is the feeling and the certainty of that experience? Do you believe that it exists, or is there doubt and uncertainty? Because the doubt and uncertainty is the distance between you and the thing. Which is why for many of those aspiring to be powerful conscious creators, there are things that happen and those questions, why and how did this happen so fast? And then I have things that I haven't been able to materialize yet. It's because the resistance, the internal, is holding that intention at an arm's length. You have distance between you and the thing versus things that are small in your mind, insignificant, happen very, very quickly. The question is why? The question is in the process. Excellent, excellent. Thank you for that. Awesome. Thank you, Catherine. Do I have to think about the subject to get to the place of knowing? How often, okay, they are asking, how often do I have to think about the subject to get to a place of knowing? You really don't have to think at all to get to a place of knowing. You want to identify how it feels. Everything is about feeling. Yes, you have the capacity to think. But the first position of a thought, the first position of the image is the feeling. It doesn't appear that way sometimes. Sometimes it looks like, oh, I started thinking about the thing and then I started feeling about it. Yeah. But the feeling, once you've identified the feeling, that's the key. Anytime you entertain, and this is the mistake of many when they're doing their meditations and they're doing their affirmations and all these things. Yeah, I repeated it over and over and over again. But you never identified the feeling and exploded the feeling of the thing. Right? You're affirming the thing with your mouth, but the feeling is what goes out and begins to mold and meld the experience. And you can repeat a thing all day long, but if you never identify and express how the experience feels, then you're doing something, but you're doing it in a weak fashion. Because it's about the feeling. Knowing is a feeling. Take time with those things that you know for certain already, identify the feeling. And then place your intention inside of that feeling as best you can. Okay. Sonia says, I'm referring to raising my vibrations to be more spiritual. Thank you for the guidance. Excellent. Awesome. Let's see. Catherine says, things fall apart. Inundated in the environment that surrounds me, reacting to feel the real me that was before. Feels also that leaving my loved ones behind, if I be what I am, is abandoning them. That's excellent. That's excellent. And guess what? You are in a space that is normal for those that are walking this path. What you have to understand is that you're becoming more expansive, more beautiful, more excellent, more aligned with the truth of you in source is of benefit to all that you come in contact with. Is it possible that your vibrational state moves those away who are at a greater distance energetically? Yes, it's possible, but it's not your responsibility. You are on your selfish individual life's path just as everyone else is in your circle. Your children, your spouse or partner, your mother or father, your brothers and sisters, they are all on their individual path of which you are not responsible for. And understand this, if you made your transition today, their lives would continue. So at this moment, the responsibility that you're taking for their experience as to whether it will change if you grow and expand and evolve on this path is a misconception, is a misunderstanding. And it takes you out of alignment because you know that you are creating to a degree. You're here on this call, so that means that you have an expanded level of awareness to be allowing of this type of interaction. So you're following your inspiration and simultaneously you're being pulled in a certain direction by your spirit, by your soul, whatever you want to call it. You're being pulled in this direction of growth and expansion. You're walking this path, but at the same time you're attached to old patterns. You're attached to ideas of responsibility for others. And you've got a tug of war going on inside of you because you haven't reckoned with the fact yet that you are walking a path of greater light expression. You are walking a path of higher presence, more excellent presence, more brilliant presence, expanded capacity, which will be of benefit to everyone you come in contact with, which will be of benefit to children, spouse, partner, all of these things. Not something that you force or push on them, but just because of who you are being, it gives them the opportunity to tune up to you in frequency, in vibration, which will in turn open them up to greater personal expansion. But it's not for you to push or force. It's something that happens organically just by you being who you are being as a result of walking the path and expanding with perfect timing as it relates to you. You've been conditioned to the attachments, but this journey is a selfish journey. And the path that you are on is a beautiful path that equals beautiful for you and all that you come in contact with. But you have to reckon with that. You can't, it's not something that just because we said all of those things, we don't put that inside of you. As you walk and open yourself up to the understanding that we just shared, it will make its way into you. And again, this is something that everyone that has walked this path has had to reckon with. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for that honesty. It holds great power and strength for you on the other side of that understanding. let's see. I think my issue is I keep trying to bring others with. That's what keeps throwing me off. Yes, and it can be very disappointing, right? The expectation you bring, trying to bring people with you, and the expectation and the wanting of them when it may not be their time to know and to be as you are. And what feels like a benevolent act actually turns on you and throws you off center, throws off your frequency, takes you out of alignment. It's not your responsibility. They will be who they are being and come along in their personal evolution with perfect timing as it relates to them, not as it relates to you. Thank you for the comment. I really have to work on just minding my own business and allow others to be. It's a challenge. Yes, especially for those that you really care about, for those that you love. You want them to understand as you do, but it's not your responsibility. They are on their own life's path. Even if it's your 3-year-old son or daughter, they are on their own life's journey. The sooner you understand that, the better. The less you will be attached and find yourself out of alignment in your efforts of pushing and asserting your ideas onto them. And the freer they will be, because they will not be feeling the pressure and the weight of your expectation. That's the other side that most don't consider. The weight and the pressure that is being placed on those that you are hoping and expecting of. Yeah. All right. As Sonia says, I try to put out positivity every day, and hopefully it spreads to those around me. Yes, but again, that's not your responsibility, though. The positivity is for you. The positivity is for you to be in alignment, to be more and more consistently in alignment. That's a misunderstanding, is that there's some great reward for being beautiful and amazing to others. The others are a reflection of you, which means that the more you focus on you, the more you love you, the more you recognize you, the more you accept you, the more you acknowledge you, the more you appreciate you, the more you radiate that level of feeling and frequency. And the more you resonate that feeling and frequency, the more you come in contact with that feeling and frequency, because you connect with that inside of all that you come in contact with. That is your point of connection, that which you are being to you. That's the level of alignment you are establishing for yourself. That's the frequency, the tone, the color of the experiences that you will step into in every next present moment. That's the realizing of your power. And that's also the mistake. Seems benevolent and high. I am sending out these things for people around me in hopes that they feel it. No. Again, they're coming along at their most perfect speed as it relates to them. Your priority is to be in the highest fashion to and for you. That which happens outside of you as a result of you being you is icing on the cake. And that may feel uncomfortable, but that uncomfortableness is the conditioning. The truth of you in source just is. A flower just is. A tree just is. A fruit tree, an apple tree just is. And we benefit from it. It doesn't hope we benefit from it. It doesn't expect us to benefit from it. We benefit from it just because it is authentically itself. It's not concerned about us. We benefit from by an apple tree being itself fully. If it wasn't being itself fully and selfishly, it wouldn't be an apple tree, or it wouldn't be as bountiful and as plentiful as it could be, because it wasn't being itself fully and selfishly. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't be able to benefit from it to the degree that we do. It may not be as tasty as it would be if it wasn't authentically itself. And it's the same for you. Experiencing life and all that you come in contact with will have the highest experience if you are being the greatest and the most excellent and the most vibrant version of you that you are choosing to be. We tried. We hope that makes sense with the analogy. Oh man. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you for that comment. Thank you for being open. This is how you grow and expand. You only grow and expand by being open and being honest and being truthful with yourself about where you are. That is how the doors open. That's the key. Honesty. Honesty. Awareness. Open and excited to greater awareness. Open and excited to the resistance being revealed. That's the key. Along with what we've been talking about, consistency of the play and practice. These are keys. These are keys. These are keys. And we're thankful for those of you who have played with us in this interaction and expressed yourselves freely in this interaction. That's the only way that we can be of the highest level of support. And we thank you for that. We're excited for each of you. We love you very much. We will be back tomorrow at the same time. We will talk to you soon. Thank you.